Hey everyone! So today we're going to tackle one of the trickiest cards in the whole tarot deck, but it's also one of the most insightful. I'm talking about the Five of Swords. This card is all about conflict, what it means to win, and, what happens after the dust settles.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever won an argument but still felt like you lost? Yeah, we've all been there, right? You get the last word, you prove your point, but instead of feeling great, there's just this empty, hollow feeling inside. Well, that feeling is the absolute core of the Five of Swords. And today, we're going to dig into why that happens and what this card is really trying to tell us.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll break down the scene on the card itself. Then we'll talk about its upright meaning, that whole costly win thing. After that, we'll flip it over to see what happens when a truce is possible. And finally, we'll wrap up with some real actionable advice for you.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1. To really get what the Five of Swords is all about, we have to start with the picture, because all the clues are right there in the imagery.
Okay, so just look at this card for a second. Your eye immediately goes to that main guy, right? He's holding 3 swords, and he's got this sly, kind of smug look on his face. He's the winner. But then, look at the other 2 people. They're just walking away, totally defeated. And notice the 2 swords left on the ground. Now, look up at the sky. It's all stormy and chaotic. This isn't a victory parade. It's a scene that's telling us, yeah, the fight might be over, but the bad feelings, they are definitely still hanging in the air.
And that really tense vibe we just saw, that leads us straight into the upright meaning of the card. This is all about winning, but winning at a really, really high cost. This brings us to the key idea here, the hollow victory. It's a win that comes at such a huge cost, maybe you lost someone's trust or respect or connection, that it just doesn't feel like a win at all. It's about conflict, disagreements, and that super competitive drive to win, no matter what. So you got your way, but you damaged a relationship to do it. You proved your point, but now you're all alone. That's the hollow victory. The price was simply too high.
You can almost think of it like this. On one side, you've got winning the battle, proving your point, getting your way, defending your ego. But on the other side, you've got losing the war. And that looks like damaged relationships, isolating yourself, losing trust. The Five of Swords is basically a big flashing sign that says, hey, are you sure this is worth it? Because winning the battle might mean losing the whole war. And that leads to a really important question you have to ask yourself when you see this card. Is this fight really feeding you, or is it just draining your spirit? It's a gut check moment. Is this worth the energy, or are you just fighting for the sake of fighting? And this kind of energy can show up anywhere, right? In love, it could be those arguments that are all about ego, where someone has to be right. In your career, this can point to some serious workplace drama, hostility, or even bullying. And with money, well, it's often a sign of conflict over finances, or a warning that someone might be trying to take advantage of you. All right, enough with the heavy stuff. Let's flip this card over, because when we see it in reverse, the whole story can change. This is our chance for a truce. So when this card shows up reversed, it often signals that the conflict is coming to an end. You've reached a point where you realize, you know what? Winning just isn't everything. You're tired of fighting. You're just ready to move on. It's about being ready to forgive and let things go. But here's the thing, the reversed card presents a real fork in the road. On one hand, you have the path to a peaceful resolution. This is where you compromise, you have an open dialogue, you forgive. But there's another path too. The conflict could actually escalate. We're talking revenge, sabotage, maybe even public humiliation. So this card isn't a guarantee of peace, it's a choice. And that choice plays out in different areas of life. In a relationship, it could mean you finally make up, or you decide it's time to cut your losses. At work, it could mean compromises are made and things get better, or it could be a sign that the sabotage is about to get worse. With money, this is often a good sign, maybe some relief from financial tension, or someone finally being held accountable for a debt. Okay, so let's get to the most important part. You see this card in a reading. What now? What's your next move? Let's talk actionable advice. So here are 4 key things to keep in mind. 1. Pick your battles wisely. Not every fight is worth having. 2. Prioritize open communication. Talk with people, not at them. 3. Seek compromise and forgiveness. It's a sign of strength. And 4, this one is crucial, know when to walk away. Sometimes the smartest move is to just leave the swords on the ground and go.
And for those of you who do simple yes or no readings, this card is a pretty clear answer. It's a no. It's basically a big stop sign telling you to rethink your approach because your actions could really impact other people in a negative way.
Ultimately, the Five of Swords boils down to one simple but really powerful question. And it's a question for all of us. Is it more important to be right or to be at peace? Something to think about.
We've created a beautiful Tarot Infographic Handbook and a Learn Tarot coloring book too. Check them out using the link in the description. See you next time.